But on the plus side, I don't think everybody is quite as dumb as the political regime and the media establishment, but I repeat myself, would have us believe. What is up? My name is Eric. This channel is called Report and Opine. I am back. This, of course, is the epicenter for all of your current and captivating coastal elite chaos. So please hit that subscribe button, like the video, ring the notification bell, leave a comment or two, share this with a friend. Let's go. This migrant crisis, this asylum seeker crisis, it is just never ending. And it is so criminal on so many levels. I mean, I can't say enough about this, right? So sometime in 2021, we were to believe that the asylum seekers were coming from all over the world for a better life. They were fleeing persecution, or they were fleeing the sun monster all at the same time in 2021, as though it wasn't just a very simple open borders policy that was implemented on day one of the Biden administration while we were all still neck deep in Rona hysteria. How is this possible? How is anybody believing this? And so there's the political corruption and criminality. There's quite obviously the illegal alien criminality, which I, of course, for the millionth time, have experienced myself. And I can't say this for sure because this no bail, this cashless bail reform or whatever has been a big problem in New York City for quite some time now. But as we know, as we've all lived through, as I have lived through personally, once again, there is very clearly a two-tier justice system. So does anybody think for one split second, if a New Yorker, if an American was caught beating up a migrant, they would immediately walk? I don't know. Right? I mean, you can rob and steal from stores. You can push people on the tracks. You can basically do whatever you want outside of completely eliminating somebody, and sometimes even then, and you will walk. But I would almost be of the belief we've gotten so bad, this two-tier justice system is so corrupt that a migrant can beat up a New York City police officer, get out of jail, and flee to California. But if you were to as much as argue with a migrant, they would call the police on you, which has happened to me. And I don't think that Alvin Bragg, Fat Alvin, or Letitia James, or whatever the hell is going on in there, would let a New Yorker walk after confronting a migrant. And for the record, has President Bo Biden, has he said even one word about this viral attack? Has he said one word about these arrests that are happening? Has he said anything like, well, this is not representative, or maybe more like, representative, my dad was a migrant, 1491, Jack. I mean, has he said anything? He completely ignores it. And why shouldn't he? Because he cannot say anything that will work towards him, right? I mean, he can't say this is not representative because one is too many. He can't say, oh, you should just deal with it anyway. He can't say this is not happening. It's crystal clear. We all saw this. Well, not all of us, but we saw this coming like we had binoculars. It was not rocket science. It is a criminal undertaking on the part of the federal government and the illegal alien contingent. And the only way to stop it is to have the big, scary right-wing Republicans sign off on a bill because there's already laws in the books that you refuse to enforce. And if they don't sign that bill, which gives more money to Ukraine and Israel, if they don't do that, then we might be headed towards another war, so says Chuck Schumer, who's also been made famous for saying that the intelligence community has 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. This is just a mess, if you wanted to put it nicely. This post from News 12 BK says, robbery ring arrest. Police have arrested 5 people in connection to a robbery ring of moped drivers and thieves targeting unsuspecting New Yorkers, phones, and personal belongings. Link in bio for the full story. Oh, well, that's interesting because you missed one very important thing. We all can see this, and you're trying to cover it up is only making you and them look worse. Here's a good one from Curtis Sliwa, because this just never ends, and we can talk about the, laundry list of hypocrisies that they, shove in your face as sort of a humiliation, just obey, we are in control ritual. But Curtis Sliwa posts this image here that says, New York City slow to process most food stamps, cash aid applications, juxtaposed with New York City launches $53 million program to hand out prepaid credit cards to migrant families. There is just no question at this point. These people are grown. There's no, we just wanted to help them, they're coming for a better life. That shit, well, it was quite obviously never true. But even if it was at one particular point in time, that ship sailed and everybody sees it. So the question now becomes, do these people take their foot off the gas and come up with a plan that somebody likes so they can quote unquote get reelected? Or do they steamroll everybody because their claws are already in too deep? Okay. One more. Last one. I promise. I just can't take it anymore. Who is this for? Who is this convincing? We have this old man who can barely put together a sentence claiming that Donald Trump is the reason that the border is collapsing. What are you talking about, bro? Donald Trump is not in office. You don't need a bill. We already have border patrol and border law. And look, I'm no legal scholar, but I think there's some laws about crossing into the country illegally. But this man in full-on campaign mode wants you to believe that it's Donald Trump, who is not even the president, is somehow the reason for this bill, which we don't even need, not passing.
Now, all indications are this bill won't even move forward to the Senate floor. Why? A simple reason. Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump thinks it's bad for him politically. Therefore, he doesn't, even though it helps the country, he's not for it. He'd rather weaponize this issue than actually solve it. So for the last 24 hours, he's done nothing, I'm told, but reach out to Republicans in the House and the Senate.
What? Dude, Trump is not the president. He is campaigning. He is filling up stadiums. You are speaking to a couple people in a room about Snickers bars. This is insane.
And threaten them and try to intimidate them to vote against this proposal. And it looks like they're caving. Frankly, they owe it to the American people to show some spine and do what they know to be right. So I want to tell the American people what's in this bill.
Yeah, and it cuts off right there because it is an ABC News clip and they are completely compromised. We know that by now, along with, most of the other mainstream media outlets. But the Epstein-Disney connection is just through the roof. It's a completely different story. I actually made a video about ABC. Go ahead and check that out. But they cut it off. They don't let him tell us in this clip particularly what is in the bill. But it doesn't matter because we don't need a bill. All you need to do. All right, moving on. A little bit more juxtaposition, as it were, from Gothamist. New York to issue nearly 1,500 new weed business licenses in coming weeks. And they love this, right? As I always say, they would really rather have you self-vaccinating under maybe the Williamsburg Bridge, in this case, with your mask on, sleeping in a bed of needles. But if you're not going to do that, we are going to put weed stores on every corner so you can be high as a kite and not worry about what the hell it is we're doing. And so with all of these new weed licensed businesses, because, and they're going to people of color and we love them and we just want you to have your freedom, even though we're obviously going to have our hand all deep in your pocket, which makes it much more beneficial for the pot dealer and the pot smoker to not go through a regular store. But that's a little bit of a different story. We are going to allow you to smoke weed everywhere. The whole city smells like weed and it's beneficial. It's not because we like the zombie state of stoners walking around everywhere, because that's the next best thing to self-vaccinating under the Williamsburg Bridge. But in comparison to that, From the New York Post, Dr. Drew warns of extremely worrisome marijuana study findings that link cannabis use with psychotic states. Now, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I've smoked plenty of weed in my day, and I think it's not that bad. But the idea is that you can have this guy say he thinks this is happening as a result of, prolonged marijuana use, and they will just immediately rake him over the coals. Oh, he's a right-wing bigot. And they won't even take a second to stop and think why we don't like this or why he is wrong. They will just say, he's a right-winger, get him out of here. And we're going to keep, handing out these weed licenses and discriminating against white people. Back in California, of course, ABC7 Los Angeles this time, Newsom firefighters back Prop 1 to tackle homelessness, mental health crisis. Is that right? So does anybody think that Gavin Newsom is going to fix the crisis of homelessness with, maybe just a little bit more money? We all remember the clip of Gavin Newsom more than a decade ago when he was mayor of San Francisco, I believe, saying, I can end homelessness in 10 years.
We believe fundamentally that food solves hunger, that shelters solve sleep, and that housing solves homelessness. And if we're going to solve the problem of those that are out on the streets that we define as homeless, we better solve the housing problem if we're going to have an impact. And that's why we established this framework, what we call a 10-year plan to end chronic homelessness in San Francisco.
And we've seen the 10-year anniversary of that come and go. He's obviously not going to help. This is very clearly a money play. I'm genuinely curious as to how anybody can't see through it at this point. We need more money to fight the weather, London Breed says. Of course, they all say that. We need more money to fight the opioid crisis. Meanwhile, the border's wide open. We need more money to fight homelessness. I mean, how? I mean, you haven't proven one single thing. What you did was you cleaned up a couple city blocks of San Francisco when a Chinese dictator came around, and as soon as he left, it all went back to absolute disgusting garbage nonsense. So what have you done to make anybody believe you are going to solve some of these problems? You have this building in downtown Los Angeles that's getting covered in graffiti. It was abandoned in 2019, right? I mean, how is this possible? You have dead high-speed rail train. I mean, it's all so clear and obvious that this is some sort of weird money laundering scheme. You have Paul Pelosi Jr., Nancy Pelosi's son, who continues for the 7th time, I believe, to evade federal charges from some scam he's running with his buddies in San Francisco. So what is making you think that people are going to buy this? Is it the last, 3 decades of brainwashing and telling them that Orange Man is bad? But maybe, just maybe, even as, In-N-Out and Denny's and businesses flee Oakland and San Francisco, people are starting to finally wake up for it, and then they might vote a little bit differently. And I don't even think that's going to be enough, because obviously the people that forced pharmaceuticals into your arm and shut your business down are not going to come out and say, well, we've been outvoted. We better go back to the drawing board and come up with an idea that people like. That's not going to happen. They're going to continue to steamroll people because they've already been given way too much control. And the best part, the crux of the article here, they say the proposition calls for a $6.38 billion bond to build 11,150 new treatment beds and supportive housing, create 26,700 outpatient treatment slots, and set aside $1 billion for veteran housing, along with recruiting and training of 65,000 mental health workers. And I'm sure they're going to do absolutely everything they promised to do with that money. It's not going to happen. And this is all using the assumption that they are going to use the money properly, and that people who are self-vaccinating under the Bay Bridge or on the Santa Monica Pier are going to say, okay, yeah, I think I want to get some help now. It is a complete and total scam, and it is part of the reason why California looks the way it does right now. And speaking of Gavin Newsom, of course, he has agreed to deploy 120 more CHP officers in Oakland and the East Bay, as requested by Oakland Mayor Shang Tao, and she is only doing that because the effort to recall her may be picking up a little bit of steam, but it's too late, right? I'm sure the people out in East Oakland will be sort of happy to get a little bit of protection, so maybe they don't get, hit with stray bullets or robbed or mugged at the gas station, but the businesses are gone. I mean, it is never ending. The pizza spot on Fruitvale, they finally started fighting back on their own after being robbed 4 times in a month. Denny's, In-N-Out, Black Bear, Raising Cane's, La Cheval, the list goes on. It's too late. Too little, too late. Okay, here's a couple clips of our good buddy Bo Jiden, right? We all love him. He sticks to the narrative. He is going to gaslight you. He is going to tell you not to believe your lying eyes. It's exactly what's going to happen in this clip. But I think more importantly than that, where are all the people, right? I don't know what event this is, but why are there not more people there? I mean, this is an election year, right? This is 2024. You are the most popular president ever, right? More popular than Barack Obama even. So, I mean, I guess maybe they're all outside. They're just waiting to get in. It looks like you have plenty of space, but let's listen to what Bo Jiden has to say here.
We have the best economy in the world. Inflation is coming down. They're still too expensive, too much.
And that's what they do. That's what they do. Same thing happens in San Francisco. They pick the peak. Oh, there was 1 million ODs in November 2023. But since then, it's been down. So inflation hit a 41-year high, but it's been good ever since then. So it's going down. What are you talking about, bro? We're not all this stupid. So you were going.
I'm triggered.
Expense and a little bit of corporate greed going on too. Nationwide.
Bo Jiden wants to talk about corporate greed. Are you kidding me? Pay your fair share, but your son doesn't pay his taxes, and you want to talk about corporate greed, right? These weirdos shake down backdoor Ukrainian deals, and you want to talk about corporate greed? That's the reason for inflation?
Little article written, you get your connection to it. It's called, it's about what's happened with the Snickers bars. Yeah. Snickers bars, you know that candy? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they haven't raised the price of a Snicker bar. They just took 10% of it out.
Okay, I mean, it's all complete and total nonsense. You'd have to have the IQ of a kumquat to believe any of this is true. But even if what he says there at the end, you're trying to frame it as though it's a good thing. Well, the price hasn't gone up. They just took 10% of it out. Bro, you're splitting hairs. It doesn't matter. You've completely ruined everything from, global political affairs all the way down to the cost of a Snickers bar, and then you laugh about it and tell us that orange man bad. Okay, one more here, and there's plenty of these floating around all over the place. I mean, it is an election year. You would think this guy would be out running and gunning, but he's barely keeping it together, and we can all see the collapse, but they just don't want you to believe your lying eyes. It is incredibly Orwellian. Joy Orwell Reed, as I like to say.
Mr. President, Donald Trump said he's ready to debate you right now. Do you accept?
On radio. Pardon me?
He wants to debate you immediately, you said.
Immediately?
Yes.
Will you debate him?
If I were him, I'd want him to debate me too.
Now, why would he debate him? Of course he doesn't need to debate. The machine works for him. Ask Katie Hobbs. Oh, debating? I'm not going to defend any of my positions. You idiots are just going to vote for me anyways, as though voting was real.
You got nothing else to do.
How worried are you about the world? How worried?
What's your message, Speaker Johnson?
My message, Speaker Johnson, is pay attention to what the Senate's doing. We got a bipartisan deal. You're going to see the detail of it this week. It'll be introduced on Wednesday. The border, I've been asking since the first bill I introduced was on the border.
We don't need a bill. You, on the first day of your presidency, eliminated protections at the border. So we do not need another bill. What are you talking about? You can try to foist it on the Republicans, but the entire country can all see right through it. And there's nobody that's going to go to bat for you, Biden. They don't like you on this Israel-Palestine thing. Nobody is going to support this. There is only blind allegiance from idiots, and that population is dwindling fast, or aggressive opposition. That's it. There's no in between who says, you can't say, oh, Biden did a good job on this and I really support him because of it. It doesn't make sense. It's not out there.
We don't have enough agents. We don't have enough folks. We don't have enough judges.
A wall?
We don't have enough folks there. We need help. Why won't they give me the help all this time? And now there's...
Wait. So you created the problem, and now you are demanding that somebody else help you, and you're pretending that we don't know this is happening. And again, nobody is going to say, I really like the job he's done. You could say, I'm a partisan weirdo hack and I think Orange Man bad because I've been completely brainwashed and conditioned, so I'm going to go with it anyways, and you can admit that you are blindly supporting a completely criminal organization, or you can say, I don't like either one of them. There is no support for this. There's just no way.
Talking about the border, it's out of control. Well, guess what? Everything in that bipartisan bill gives me control, gives us control.
Everything in the bipartisan bill gives me control. Nope. Don't need it. Don't need the bill. Don't want you to have control. What the hell are you talking about, old man?
Without being, and still meets the needs of the people being able to legally come across. We're going to open avenues of legality and shut down the ones that are not coming through the points of entry. So there's a lot we can do. And the one thing I am disappointed in we didn't get the Senate piece was I think it's about time.
What the? Bro, this is triggering to no end. What are you talking about? And I don't know. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I'll keep searching. But has he said even one little word about the incredibly viral footage from the illegal alien cop attack in the nation's largest city? Has he said one thing about that? I don't know. Haven't heard it. This is despicable. And here's a little clip from CNN, right? So you got Biden out there shuffling his feet, trying to tell you not to believe your lying eyes and that the economy is the best and the Republicans are stopping me from securing the border, which, I mean, I guess if you're going to go with it, you got to just go with it. You can't do it half-assed. You got to just put your foot on the gas and gaslight these people through the roof and tell them that I am the guy for it and whoever's still on board is still on board. Right? You can't do it tepidly and say, oh, maybe I'm going to try to fix it. So props to him on that. But from CNN here, they're crying because Tucker Carlson went to Russia, and here we are batting at the top of the order once again, I suppose, and Ebro's in the comments too. Well, this guy's a complete shill, and again, I think it's really sad because I think he truly believes this stuff. It's one thing for D.L. Hughley to maybe be on a payroll somewhere or buddies with Barack Obama, but old man Ebro is just, I don't know, a 50-year-old successful radio personality that still seems to think everything is racist without even getting paid for it, but different story. And the kicker here is that you can go through hundreds, if not thousands by now, comments, and everybody can see through it. My joke was that even if you look through these comments, and I'll spare you, but even like what looks to be, OnlyFans bots, AI, floozies are like, CNN sucks. And it's like everybody can see through it. So let's listen to this talking head talk for a little bit about Tucker Carlson and the MAGA Russia Republicans.
Putin is trying to court the MAGA GOP in the United States. In fact, one of the leaders of the MAGA GOP is in Moscow tonight. It's the man.
And that's just the MAGA GOP. What do you mean just regular people who want to see maybe the border closed and then stop trafficking people and fentanyl and want to see businesses stop closing left and right in certain places? Those people, is that what qualifies as a MAGA GOP? What are you talking about? Aaron Burnett. Oh, these people are disgusting. And there was a man, I forget his name. He said the media was the enemy of the people in that. In fact, he wasn't running against a politician. He was running against the media. I forget who that was.
You see here with the MAGA leader Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson, possibly there in Moscow to interview Putin, definitely there as a Putin-supporting celebrity. Just listen to how Russian state media is breathlessly celebrating his visit.
Just like you are American state media. We'll leave it there. This is too despicable to watch. But even some of the comments, the top one here, CNN, hush. He's a journalist. He can interview whoever he wants. Did everyone freak out when Vice News interviewed ISIS? Let's all watch the interview and see what is said. Now, I don't know who that person is. They have a blue check. Maybe it's a big name, but it's like we're all at the point where all of your scaremongering, all of your orange man bad, MAGA hat is the Klan hood, you're a racist, you're a xenophobic, all those word up things, transphobe, all of that stuff, it is gone. It has been so bad that you have people, even Michael Rappaport coming out and saying, this is a little bit too much, a bridge too far, but they're still doing it. And that's why, I mean, if you had the right wing, if you had the common sense contingent going this hard, we wouldn't be in this place. So you have to respect the hustle, but they are completely evil. And this is what it's come to. Imagine being so terrible, so awful, so criminal on every level. Nobody supports you. Even the orange man bad Trump derangement people are like, I don't like Biden either. They're both really bad. Now, me personally, I'm not going to lie. I like Donald Trump. I think he's funny, right? Like outside of the political space, we all liked him 15 or 20 years ago, and then something changed quite magically. But I don't know. He's a funny guy. Same with Kanye West. Like Kanye makes good music. He's a little bit eccentric, whatever. It's hilarious. But imagine being so bad that you have to convince Taylor Swift, who endorsed you in 2020, you have to convince her to come back because even she knows which way the wind is blowing. Snoop Dogg, YG, Meek Mill, Benny the Butcher, Killer Mike. The list goes on. Sexy Red. Everybody can see through it. You have a couple of people still in the bag, I guess. So you're trying to get Taylor Swift to hop back on board because you think that's going to trick a whole bunch of, impressionable 18-year-old girls to vote for you. But imagine being so bad that your whole campaign is now running on the idea that if you don't vote for me, a woman in Texas won't be able to get rid of her baby. And they're going to jump through all the hoops. The mental gymnastics are going to be through the roof to let you know that it is really bad that you don't let these women get rid of their baby, right? They're not using it as birth control. They're using it because they were going to have to carry a dead baby, and because Donald Trump, now I have to walk around. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And again, if you allow, which I think they do, I haven't read all the bills, but if you allow for the women to get this quote unquote healthcare in these certain situations and say, well, in any other situation, you could not get this procedure done, they would not agree to it because it is all very dishonest at its best.
I have to carry my dead baby, not only for the 2 weeks I've already been carrying it.
So that is Kaz. She lives in Texas, which is up there with some of the worst abortion bans.
Okay. Yeah. So she lives up there in Texas, some of the worst bans. And how could I forget? This is actually the best part. The caption says how Texas abortion laws are preventing birthing people from accessing life-saving care. Texas abortion laws are preventing birthing people from getting the care they need. So, I mean, who is this for? This can only be for somebody so brain dead and so rotted out that they are going to be on board with you calling them birthing people and go along with the idea that if you don't let birthing people get rid of their babies, then you're an evil right-wing bigot and only Donald Trump would do that. I mean, there's so many levels to this here, and you're going to continue to see. We're just getting started here. Some of the mental gymnastics or the pretzel that this woman is going to twist herself into, trying to convince you that birthing people should be allowed to get rid of their babies, otherwise you're evil.
She is experiencing an incomplete miscarriage. Now, I didn't catch how far along she was, but depending on how far along she is, that would mean the zygote, the embryo, the fetus is dead. And for all of you pro-lifers, that means the baby.
Yeah, we know. So you're admitting that a fetus is a baby. You're admitting that. Okay.
Is dead. Since you refuse to refer to it as what it actually is.
No, that's you. You're the one that makes up all these other weirdo scientific names that you learned in 4th grade science to make sure that you don't say the word baby. So I don't know why I know exactly why she's trying to foist it on the opposite end of the political spectrum, I suppose.
But Texas law won't allow her to get an abortion to remove the dead tissue in her body. She posted that video a couple days ago, saying that she's already been carrying it for 2 weeks. When I was in New York and found out that my daughter had died, the surgeon told me that there is a 2-week window from when a fetus passes. If your body doesn't start to expel it on its own, you become at risk for going septic, for blood clots, for infections, among other things. So she is already past that 2-week window. She is very high risk of health problems right now. But
of course, yeah, she's at risk of health problems. And if you don't let her get rid of her baby, then she could die. It's always, every single time, life and death with every single issue. Oh, drive a truck, life and death. Don't let your kid cut his junk off, life and death. Don't get the vaccine, life and death. Don't wear a mask, life and death. Every single time. It's all they have. The emotional manipulation is just through the roof with these despicable, disgusting people.
she can't get the abortion she needs. And I know a lot of you are about to be like, well, we give exceptions for the dead babies, or, you know, if the mom's gonna die, then it's okay that she gets an abortion. Well, newsflash, Tiffany. Just because you would give those exceptions doesn't mean that's what the law says. But because you don't think the 15-year-old down the street should be able to get an abortion because she accidentally got pregnant, you voted for the Republican that put these laws into place. And now this woman, her life is at risk. She has a child at home. As many women do that need abortions, they are already mothers. But because you want your religious beliefs, your political beliefs, your personal beliefs pushed onto other people, this woman has no option other than to leave her state and get healthcare elsewhere, or God forbid, do it herself. Now, she made an update video saying that she's not going to give any details about what she's doing because she wants to keep herself safe and other people safe.
Yeah. She wants to keep herself safe by killing her child. This doesn't make any sense. And she would never agree to saying, okay, you know, we're going to do it in these extreme circumstances, but we won't do it as just, you know, we missed the Plan B pill or we got a little bit too drunk last night. We can agree on that. They would never do it. They use these tiny little situations, which is even debatable if it's true or not, but using the assumption that it is true, they use these to say, oh, well, we're going to blanket the whole thing. Same thing with Rona and the ballots, right? Like, oh, well, grandma might die even though Andrew Cuomo stuffed her in a nursing home with a bunch of other people, and that was far more sinister than we even know. Different story. But the point is, they use these tiny, oh, well, you're going to get sick, you're going to die, so we're going to blank the whole country with ballots. And they're saying, well, this woman's going to get sick, she's going to die if you don't let her kill her baby. And if you let her do it, then you should let a 15-year-old do it, and an 18, you should just let everybody do it all the way up through 9 months. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's completely despicable. And just for the record, imagine being so desperate. That's what your campaign is now circled around, is getting rid of babies and calling it women's rights. I mean, birthing person's rights. She wants to talk about pushing political and religious beliefs, but it's like, obviously, you were doing that nonstop, pushing your weirdo gender agenda and baby-killing religion down the throat of everybody, no pun intended, right? So when somebody outside of your circle does it, you're angry, but you have your days, your weeks, your months, your parades, your black squares, and that's okay. But if somebody says Merry Christmas, then it becomes a problem. These people are all just so disgusting, from the criminal government element to the weirdo baby killing contingent to the criminal illegal alien population. It's all completely criminal. We're living through it. People want to say, oh, CW2 is around the corner, and I might argue we are living it. But on the plus side, I don't think everybody is quite as dumb as the political regime and the media establishment, but I repeat myself, would have us believe. All that said, here's a funny clip.
This shit is getting gay, bro, today. Sorry, I gotta fucking...
It's just very dick-oriented today. I wouldn't say it's gay.
Well, it's that time of year. It's spring. People are refreshed.
It's not spring. It's the middle of the winter.
Yeah.
It's freezing cold out. It's just January.
Whatever. You guys aren't open-minded. That's what I think, bro.
It doesn't get more winter than January.
Well, it's not even a Groundhog's Day yet.
Why not just say it's August?
Okay.
Why